So, welcome to the LULU'S Way, February 2026, Florida Women's Meetup. And here we are at the Spotlight Show, where everybody's going to just have fun. That's all we're doing. I heard so many times today, I don't have any talent, I don't have any talent. This isn't a talent show. This is just have fun. You know, we're just going to have fun.
I heard you calling on the megaphone. You wanna see me all alone. As such attitude, I put the pyro. You let the match to watch the blow. And if you never call for me, I might drown in melancholy. I bet my loyalty to me, myself, and I. Before you hit my sky, all that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just holding your pose. Now I can see it all. Late one night you let me out of my grave, saved my heart from the fear of failure. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky, to lead us to your head. Your vibes are good where the hell you been? The eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia lived in fantasy. Her love was a cold bed full of scorpions, the venom sold her sanity. And if you never call for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown on fire, pulling me into the fire. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just holding your powers. Now I can see it all. Late one night you let me out of my grieving, saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky, to lead us to your hand. Your team, your vibes, don't care where the hell you've been. This night, your mind is about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. Ophelia is locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. Locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just holding your powers. Now I can see it all. Late one night you cut me out of my grave, saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky, to lead us to your hand. Your team, your vibes, imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. A week away, 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 a week away. Near the village, the peaceful village, the lion sleeps tonight. Near the village, the quiet village, the lion sleeps tonight. A week away, 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 hush, my darling, come here, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, come here, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. A week away, 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 a week away,
So I thought I would share a story. I have been doing some road trips in my RAV4, Toyota RAV4, for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months. Little trips, weekend trips, week-long trips, all in Canada where I live. And I just decided that this winter I'm going to go south. I'm going to go visit our neighbor, the States. Well, my husband wasn't very happy, my mom wasn't very happy, everybody was terrified because, you know, Canadian. They're like, you're gonna be arrested. You're not gonna come back. It's dangerous there. I'm like, I got it. I got it. So I've been doing a lot of stealth camping, and as everybody here, you probably at some point have slept in a parking lot or hotel or truck stop or something like that. And we all dread the knock. Well, I got the knock. So I was coming back from the Keys and I was around Naples. And I went on Overlander, and my preference is to be more in nature, more out in the woods rather than noisy parking lots. I feel safer in nature. I feel like I'm good with the animals. I'm afraid of people. So I found this spot on Overlander, and it was like in this marsh thing. It's like this dirt road, and I went and I went and I went, and lots of holes, and I was like in the middle of nowhere. It was like far, there was like no lights, there was like no houses, nothing. I parked my car, I put my covers up, I go to sleep, I'm thinking I'm gonna have the best sleep. Because I had been sleeping like in truck stops and all that, and I wasn't sleeping much because of the noise. I'm like, I'm gonna have the best sleep tonight. And then I'm like fast asleep, 3:30 in the morning, I hear the knock. The dreaded knock. And I'm like, who on earth finds me here? So I have a dash cam that's connected to my phone, and it has a front and rear cameras. And I looked at my phone, and all I see is like lights, 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 lights. Wow, is it a disco here? I was surrounded by 3 police cars. Not 1, not 2, but 3. And I'm the kind of person, like, I'm always prepared to do a fast exit. I have a plan, I have the keys, I have the, I can practice, I know how many seconds it takes me to get to the driver's seat. Well, one of my rules is I always sleep fully dressed. Well, that night I got hot, and I had no pants, I had no socks, I had nothing but a little tank top. But when I went to sleep, it was a little bit cold, so I actually had heated blankets that had wires connected to my jackery, and I had turned that off because I got hot, but then I was too hot, and then I took the clothes off. But when I heard the knock, and I said yes, and well, it's officers or police or something, and I'm like, okay, give me a second, and I couldn't find my pants. I got tangled in the wires. I'm trying to get out of this sleeping bag, and the wires are like trapping me, and I'm getting I'm like, oh my god, so much for the practicing, right? Eventually, I get to the seats, and they have not seen me yet, so they don't really know who's inside that car. I could be a big guy with guns in there, right? They don't know. What I think happened was that probably they were doing patrols, like one police car. They found this abandoned car because I'm very, very stealth. It looks like it's an abandoned car, like an empty car. And they probably called for backup, right? We don't know what is in there. They have a Canadian plate, like what are they doing, right? So I say yes, and I put my covers down, and then the flashlight in your face, and I'm like, And then I see their badges, I see the uniforms, and they have the lights, and I'm like, okay. I roll down the window, and I'm like, yes. What are you doing? And I was like, I was sleeping. You guys woke me up. Sleeping? Here? And I'm like, yeah. I'm road tripping, and I just need this spot for the night. I'm gonna be out of here like first thing in the morning. And he looks and I'm like, you wanna have a look? And I open it, and he looks, wow, that's neat. So he gets my driver's license, and he goes inside his car to do the checks or whatever. I asked, do you want me to exit the vehicle? No, stay inside, it's cold. And I have no pants on. I'm like hoping he tells me not to leave. While he's checking my driver's license, another police officer comes, and it's a woman. And she looks at me, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was just sleeping, and I was just, passing by. And then she's like, are you crazy? I'm like, why? It's like, here in the middle of the woods, there's bears, there's gators, there's drug addicts. And I'm like, really? And then we start talking, and she's like, listen, I come here, I never exit my vehicle. I go from the back to the front, everything is locked. I've got an SOS device, like satellite communicator. I have an app that shares my location with all my family. I got my keys ready to go. Normally I'm in my seat in 3 seconds, and normally I have pants on. And then another guy comes and joins her. And then he's, what's going on? She's like, well, this lady decided that she wanted to camp with the gators. So I had to explain the whole thing again. And I said, do I need to move? Like, am I illegal here? Am I in trouble? Am I going to be arrested? Are you going to deport me? And they're like, no, but I really don't think it's safe for you to be here. Have you ever heard of a parking lot? Yes. You know, what if those cars weren't police cars? What if somebody had trapped you? And I'm like, well, I know that this spot that I am has 2 other exits. Because I looked on Google Maps and I always reverse and I always have the front of my car in a way that I have multiple ways to exit. And she's like, wow, you've done your research. Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel and you can check all my videos here. She's like, oh, people do that? She's like, how did you find this spot? I'm like, well, there was an app for that. What? People do that? I'm like, what planet are you living? And I'm like, okay, so can I stay? Can I go? I'm like, I would really prefer that you left, because if something happens to you, that's gonna give us so much trouble to come and get you here. I'm like, fine, you want me to go to a Walmart parking lot? I'll go. But I feel less safe there than I do here. And so, yeah, and then they all kind of went into their cars and left, and yeah, that was my story.
Almost heaven, Cracker Barrel, not the restaurant, just the parking lot. Life is calm there, calmer than at home. Finally time for myself. Lord, I need to roam. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Van life Meetup, used to mama, take me home. Country roads. We're making memories, gathered around her. Facebook family, neighbors never strangers. Hair is dirty, ain't washed my dishes. Great blue herons are granting us good wishes. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. And life Meetups, used to mama, take me home. Country roads. We'll hear a voice in the morning when we're back home. The videos remind us of our journey here. Driving down the road, we'll get the feeling that we should have stayed another day, another day. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. And life Meetups, used to mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Van life Meetups, used to mama, take me home. Country roads.
I'm a retired yoga teacher, and I stopped right around when the pandemic happened. But I used to always try to, before I would teach, have a reading or a poem or something like that. And I ran across this poem, and it's really had an impact on me. And I think about this about every day, because, you know, when things start happening that you worry about that you shouldn't worry about, little things. And the poem's name called Normal Day, and it's by Jean Irion. I believe that's how you say her name. So I'll read the poem to you. Normal day. Let me be aware of the treasure that you are. Let me learn from you, love you, and bless you before you depart. Let me not pass you by in a quest of some rare and perfect tomorrow. Let me hold you while I may, for it may not always be so. One day I shall dig my nails into the earth, or bury my face on the pillow, or stretch myself taut, or raise my hands to the sky, and want more than all of the world for your return. And I have a friend who's in hospice care right now. She got diagnosed like probably 6 months ago with stage 4 cancer. And I always think, because she's in hospice, she's not gonna make it. And I always think how she would just love to have a normal day. Like, you know, we were talking about it at the book club last night, how you always kind of think you should be doing something or looking for something. But there's something to be said about just a normal day too, you know?
Yeah.
Beautiful message.
I credit this song really to saving my life when I was 16, because you know we all need it. Well, maybe not all of you. It was a very important song to me. That and New York State in mind. I always have these two songs in my anyway. So it's Beautiful by Carol King. Yeah, it is a beautiful song. So if you know the words, you know, just feel free to sing along or dance or get up or, you know, wave your hands. I read it. You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Waiting at the station with a workday window blowing, I've got nothing to do but watch the passers-by. Mirrored in their faces, I see frustration growing, and they don't see it showing. Why do I? You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. I have often asked myself the reason for the sadness in a world where tears are just a lullaby. If there's any answer, maybe love can end this madness. Maybe not all, but we can only try. You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful as you feel.
How many of you have Irish ancestry?
Everybody.
There are, just a little tidbit, I heard that there are about 10 to 15 times more Irish people in the world than there are people in Ireland. So I don't know.
They Spain Vikings, man, I got around.
Well, my father was born in County Down, Northern Ireland in 1901. In 1916, there was the Irish uprising, and my father was involved with it. He was 15 years old, not in the uprising in Dublin, but in the north. Well, that war ended in about 1921, and he was 20 at the time. And the way it ended was that there was a treaty that the southern part of Ireland became a separate country. The northern part of Ireland remained under British rule, and the people that negotiated the peace did not get amnesty for the fighters that were in Northern Ireland. So there was no more war, but my father's name was up on a poster to be hung as a traitor. So he went, quote, on the run. He lived on the mountain. If you've been up on the Mourne Mountains, there's the seashore, and then there's this big mountain. And he lived up there, just lived on the mountain. His cousin walked to her grandmother's most every day with lunch. And if there was no one around, she would hide some food under a bush, and he could come down at night and get it. Anyway, after a few months of that, his father managed to get him a job on a freighter that was going to Canada. And he could go to Canada without papers because it was part of the British Commonwealth. So he got on the ship. Now, I don't know if any of you have been to Ireland, but it is an island, and the sea moderates its weather. It is very far north, and it's cool, but it never gets above 80 degrees. 80 degrees is a real heat wave, and there's no snow to speak of. So he landed in Canada in 1922 when there were feet of snow. He had never seen that in his life, never been so cold in his life, he said. Well, he had a little money. He got on a train. He went as far west as he could because he didn't want to be caught and deported. So the train, he ran out of money in Strasbourg, Saskatchewan. He went to work there for a little while, but he wasn't happy working there. So he came across the border in North Dakota on a train. And in those days, there were no visas or things like that, but you had to pay a head tax to come into the United States. He had no money to pay a head tax. So he told them that he was visiting his wife, he wasn't married, in Miles City, Montana. And he was going to be there about 2 weeks, and he never went back to Canada. He used to say that he wasn't a you know the term wetback, where Mexicans come across the river in the south. He wasn't a wetback, he was a snowback. Anyway, so his uncle had been in Montana in the late 1800s, and he told him that if he went to Miles City and found a saloon with a sheep in the window, a big horn sheep, that there would be Irish there who would hire him. And that sheep is still in the window in Miles City, Montana. A little flea bitten, but it's still there. So he went to work as a sheep herder. In those days, a sheep herder was put out on the prairie with 500 to 1,000 sheep in a sheep wagon, which kind of looks like a Conestoga wagon, and a dog and a horse, a barrel of water, and some salt pork, and you took care of the sheep. And you hoped that the camp timber would come once every 2 weeks and bring you some more food and water. There was no water really fit for human consumption either. And now we had the opposite problem of the snow. He was in stifling heat. Montana gets up to, in July and August, gets up to 110 routinely. And he still had scars on his body from the sunburn, his face. Anyway, then he'd been working and just had saved a little bit of money, and he contracted Rocky Mountain spotted fever from a tick. Now, he said that he was in the hospital for 6 months. And that's hard to believe, but he was in the hospital so long that his girlfriend, that he had been writing letters religiously to Ireland, married. So he lost his girlfriend. And I guess that's about the time that he decided that he probably was never going to get to go back to Ireland. Anyway, so he found himself put out in the hospital with nothing, and that was about 1925. And started over again, out herding sheep. And fast forward to 1936, he met my mother. And I have a letter that he wrote to her, breaking up with her, because he was destitute, and he didn't think it was right. So she married him. And they started out life in the sheep wagon. They owned a few hundred head of sheep. They owed $13 a head on them, and they were worth $6. So he went to the bank. He told them they could take his sheep and lose $7, or they could loan him another $2 to get through the winter. And the bank loaned him the money. And he never stopped banking with that organization. But anyway, they brought their first baby home to the sheep wagon in 1938. And in 1939, they managed to move into a homestead shack where I grew up. And it was a shack. They added one to it, put in a windmill and stuff like that. Well, 5 children later, I was in high school. They decided it was time for them to make a will. And when they came back from the lawyer, they were awed. They were stunned. And I remember my oldest brother saying, "Mom, what's wrong?" She said, "Your dad and I found out we were millionaires." Anyway, Daddy died at the age of 93, and he owned a ranch that was worth somewhere between $5 and $7 million. And he came to Miles City with $10 in his pocket.
Wow.
I hear the mighty thunder.
I love to hang around the deaf. They're a wonderful group of people, and it's just really too bad that more people don't understand them. And some have been placed in mental institutions when they're our age or a little older because they couldn't communicate. And so they became institutionalized. It's just really sad, but sad story, we won't go there. But I want to teach you something. So, good morning. Good morning. And you know it's morning because your right hand is the sun and it's rising over the horizon. So this is your horizon, sun's rising. Good afternoon. Good night. This is midnight. This is noon. Easy, right?
Yeah.
So in front of your body is the future. So future, before, I'm late. What else? You have like some questions or you want to know something? Somebody, this is dance. I want to dance blue.
How about like who, what, when, where, why? Those words, are they all like
Who?
questions?
I want to mention something too. So language changes just like English. This is not for English. So it kind of changes over time, right? Also, I want to point out that Southern ASL is different than Northern ASL. Some people think that it's all universal, worldwide. It is not.
I know in America it's different than other countries, but I didn't know Southern and Northern was
They
different.
have an accent. It's very true. So there might be a little bit, it's not a huge difference, but in context they can understand.
I have a question by Nick.
Who, what, when, where, why? Somebody else have a question?
Yeah, is it the same as baby sign language?
And what?
Baby sign language.
Again, it depends on where the baby's growing up. Baby,
But I want people to use sign language with babies so that they can learn to communicate sooner.
it's
so
really
they're not
cool if you
necessarily-
watch, if you watch a baby, they babble like they do in English.
Yeah.
And so, father might become, they babble.
So they teach.
Mother, might be this, milk.
Yeah.
So, I could go on and on and on because I absolutely love signing and I love the deaf culture, like I said.
But
But,
what brought you to sign language?
that's an interesting question because deaf want to know that.
Yeah.
They always ask me, why did you learn sign language? I don't know what they want to hear, but I think, so my brother, who is younger than me and has passed away from cancer, he remembers when we were very little that I was just interested in sign language. And I wanted to learn. I think maybe I remember meeting a little girl who was deaf, but growing up, I just always wanted to learn sign language. I don't have a specific reason.
I've been going on Facebook, and there's some guys on Facebook that will sign. And
I'm gonna
and it
interpret
says, what did
your
I
voice.
say? And you have to try to figure it out, but then you go down in the comments and it tells you.
Yes. And just maybe a deaf person might end up watching, so I'm going to interpret your voice.
Okay.
Because we want all access. They deserve to know what's going
I
on.
was pretty interested in it, but I never really didn't know where or how to get lessons.
Oh, we're so good. Continuing education.
Anyway, this is I love you. So everybody probably knows that. And it's kind of like I love you, sister, I love you, brother, hey, I love you, more in depth is this.
Oh, it's more in depth than that?
Yeah.
No,
This is like, hey, I love you.
And this is
And this is like husband, wife, and yeah.
Wow.
So, any more?
Love you.
Yeah, love you, Lulu.
Thank you, Teresa.
I've heard that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most of all if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I know that I believe that's true, but I know I am who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that beats the border halfway through the wood. Who can say I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. I stopped and I'm gonna have to just go wing it because I wrecked the words. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is one of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart, and no other way our story ends. I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend, like a ship on its mooring by the wind of the sea, like a seed from a skybird halfway spread the wood. Who can say I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done and blamed me for. But then again, I guess there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Coming from the orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for
Well, my name's Ginger, and hi, everybody. And I have traveled a lot in my life. I've been very, very fortunate. And I'm going to tell you a little about my travels. The first one is when I was, and this is before these places ever got popular, okay? I was in Belize, and I was at a resort. We were all diving. I was a diver. That's why I went to all these places. And one of the activities that they had at this place was horses. And I grew up with horses, so I thought I'd take a ride in the jungle. So, I get on my horse, and my dive buddy is in front of me, and I think I'm the last one. Yeah, I'm the last one, and I'm following him, as I always am, the last one. And the man that fixed my saddle and everything, he didn't tighten the cinch. So I am trying to catch up with all my friends in the jungle. In the jungle.
We'll say again.
Hey, in the jungle. And I'm galloping or whatever they call it. And I see this hill. Well, not really a hill, well, and it's black, but it's moving. And there's tarantulas. And my cinch belt breaks. And I'm slowly going over, slowly falling in the jungle into the tarantula pit. And out of nowhere, because I was at a resort, and these Hispanic men ran out of the jungle and caught me before I fell in with the tarantulas. And so then he fixed my cinch belt, or whatever you call it, and I get back on the horse, and I gallop away following, trying to catch up with my friends. We're going to a bar in the jungle. So, we get to this bar. I think this would have made it about the same size. And there's no cards or anything. There's horses all tied up. So I go in, and I'm a flirt. I was a flirt. And I belly up to the bar, and there's this attractive man. And he picks up on there, and we start talking and having a conversation, and in the jungle. And there were a lot of birds in this jungle. So I'm talking to this guy, and you know how men. First 5 minutes they tell you where they work and where they're from and whatever. And if I remember, he was from Texas, and I said, "Well, I'm from Illinois, and in Illinois we have lots of birds." So, anyways, he says, "Oh, my mother is from a small town in Illinois." "Oh, really? Well, what town?" "Oh, you wouldn't know. It's just a small little town." And it's his mother now, remember, it's his mother. He says, "Liberty, though." Well, guess who was born and raised in Liberty? So, I said, "Oh, did she go to school there?" "Yes, she graduated." "Well, what year did she graduate?" 1965. Just graduated in 1965. "What was your mother's name?" "Well, it was one of my friends. And here I was trying to make it with this guy in the jungle. With all the birds. With all the birds. Wow. So, now, there's more to the story. Okay, so, well, anyways, I left that guy. He was bad. No, boo bad. So, another trip, another time, I'm in Rarotonga, which is in the Cook Islands. And it was, I think it was the furthest possession, is that the right word, of the United States during the war. And they had, Taki was this other little island right next to it, and that's where they had guns and stuff, you know, but this is later. And so anyways, my guy buddy, who was a psychiatrist, if anybody has a friend that's a psychiatrist, they are the kookiest people you know. She says to me, she always could dare me to go beyond what I was able to do. Okay. So she says, let's go kayaking in the jungle. So she says, oh, it's not very far. And I says, you know, I'm not very good at that. And she says, oh no, we'll stay within the ropes, you know, and we'll go. And on the other side of the island, there's a bar. Well, that's all she did. I signed up. I'm going to go through the jungle on a kayak all by myself. So, anyways, we're doing this, or however you do it, I don't remember. And she's within the border line, and all of a sudden there's a big wave. Big wave. We're halfway there. Turns my kayak over. So I go, I can't get back in the damn thing. You know? So I pull the kayak to the shore. Okay, and I'm going to get back and walk it, I guess, and get in the kayak and then paddle myself out. So I'm standing in the sand, and damn, wouldn't you know, what comes out of the jungle but a wild pig. And that wild pig, you never saw me run so fast in all your life. But that's not the only thing that came out of the jungle. I tell you, I think these people hide in the jungle and watch them. There were like 3 or 4 little boys, maybe 10 or 12, maybe, I don't know. And they came and they ran into the water with me. They held my kayak. I got back in the kayak, and you never saw anybody paddle so fast to that bar. And then I bellied up to that one, and I said, I'll have 3 beers. And those are my stories.
And those are true stories?
Yes, sir. Holy shit, I have that's why I signed her up. But I hope my kids don't hear about me.
Okay, next we have Linda Lou has a song. What song, Linda Lou? Do you need me to play something? Where is she? Linda Lou? Uh-oh.
She bailed on her. Maybe she went to the water. She's like, I'm getting out of here before they call me.
Okay, Linda. Maybe she'll be back.
Oh, remember she had her company Lily. Maybe she couldn't get away.
Okay.
I don't know.
How about if we? Okay, next.
I'm so itchy, it's driving me crazy. Can I see the doctor, please?
Yes, just a minute here, let me look. Oh, no, you might have lice, but I'm not. Yes, step over here, and the doctor will be in to see you in about 3 hours.
Next,
Susie Q.
Susie Q.
Wow, you've got quite the case of hiccups there. Oh, gosh, that's terrible. How long have you been doing it?
4 hours.
Oh, gosh, you take 7 sips of water without breathing?
No, it doesn't work.
Nothing's working?
No.
All right. Come on over here, the doctor's gonna come in and see you. He'll get you taken care of. Yeah, he will. Okay, all right. Next.
So I live in I live in a town called Royal Palm Beach, down in near West Palm Beach. You know Royal Palm Beach? And I was a single mom, and I was able to buy a small house in the old part of Royal Palm Beach, where the houses were built in the 1960s. And the house that I bought had one previous owner, and he was from Massachusetts, and he would be a snowbird in this house, and he had planted all of these citrus trees and gardenia and avocado in the backyard. And so I was lucky to buy that house with all these mature fruit trees growing. And one of my favorites was a tangerine tree. And one day I noticed the neighbor directly behind me, not him, but the one next to him, where our fences met at the corner. And I noticed that that neighbor had a dead tree in their yard leaning towards my tangerine tree. And it was about to fall on the fence and hurt my tree. So, what do? Nobody lived there. It was a vacant house. So I went around, saw the real estate sign in the yard, jotted down the number, and I get home and call it. And this man answers, and I tell him the problem, and he says, well, listen, I know the owner. He's an investor. He is not going to do anything about that tree. But I'll come over, I'll take a look, and, I'll give you my 2 cents worth. I said, okay. So he comes, we meet. Him in that yard and me in my yard, and we meet over the fence, and I knew immediately. That this was the guy for me. So, I'm gonna cry, I know I am. So he says, have you ever thought about investing in real estate? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, my friend Angela is always pushing me to invest, in another house. He said, well, this one's for sale. And I buy the house. And now the tree is my problem. So, by buying the house, I got to see him a few more times to sign papers and, all these things. And so finally I get up the nerve to say to him, you want to go to breakfast? You want to go to lunch? I think it was lunch, I said. You want to go to lunch? He says, no, I can't. I think it was breakfast first. And so the next time I saw him, I said, how about we go have some lunch? He says, I'm in a relationship. I said, oh. He didn't have a ring on or anything, so I just assumed he was single. And so I said, okay, forgot about him. I'm renting out the new house, I'm still living in the other house, and he keeps calling me, like every couple of months, maybe 4 months. Hey, congratulations, your house is now worth this much money, and every time the value went up, he would give me a call, and we'd talk, and we'd chat. And finally, we had a real, I think it was, I don't remember the year, maybe 2006, where we had like 4 hurricanes come through in a row.
4 and 4.
And so I was done with Florida. I never liked the summers anyway. It's way too hot for me. I'm not a hot weather person. So I decided I'm going to move to Georgia and be with my Georgia family. And I called my aunt in Georgia. I said, I'm going to sell both my houses, and I knew I could buy a better house in Georgia for less money than I could get, what in Florida. So I was all excited about moving. She says, you're welcome. Come on up whenever you're ready. So I called Norm again. I said, hey, I want you to sell both my houses. I'm moving to Georgia. He says, okay. And a couple nights later, after I get home from work, he comes over and we sit at the dining room table and we work out all the details of selling the houses. And it's like we didn't want to leave each other. He was there till 11 o'clock that night. And so he gets ready to put the houses on the market, and I had to go sign some papers or something, and while I was there, he says, you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, okay, there must have been a change in his relationship status or something, and I said, sure, we'll go to lunch. So we go to lunch, and I'm nervous. I can't eat. When I'm nervous, I can't eat. If I'm stressed, I can eat all the food in the world. Not when I'm nervous. So I couldn't eat lunch, and I'm sitting there, and the salad's in front of me, and he's eating, and I'm not eating, and he's like, so what's going on? I said, I can't eat, I'm too nervous. I need to know if you're in a relationship. He said, I'm still in a relationship.
Oh, jeez.
I said, well, great, now I can eat. At least I know. Not knowing that had me so nervous. So anyway, I'm eating, he's eating, we're talking about the houses. He says, look, I've got to go drop this paperwork off at a house in, I forget the name of the development, but I knew the development, I had a friend who lived there. I said, yeah, I'll take a ride with you. He asked me to go ride with him. I said, I'll take a ride with you. We go, we drop off the papers, we come back to the restaurant so I could, so we could part ways, and I didn't want to leave the car, and he didn't want me to leave the car. So it was hard, because he was living with this woman who was the mother of his child. And I didn't want to get involved, but my heart was, telling me something different. And so he eased out of that relationship, and we ended up getting married. Yeah.
Did you go to Florida? Georgia?
I did not. Because from that day, the day that we had lunch, we kind of knew, I knew that I wasn't moving. I knew that this was going to turn into something, and we've been married together since 2006, married 2010. So, yeah.
Nice story.
What's in the bag?
What's that?
What's in the bag?
Oh, so now I move out of my house. He sold the rental that I had, luckily just in time before the market crashed, so I was able to be okay there. But then I had the house that I was living in, so I rented that out and moved in with him pretty quickly. And he had built his house on acreage in a place called Waxahachie. All the lots are an acre or 5 acres or 10 acres out there. So he was on an acre and a quarter. And when he contracted to build the house, he told them, do not cut down any trees. I want only the trees where the house pad is going to be, you can cut those down, but don't cut down any other trees. And I'm so glad, because I took up a hobby recently, making baskets. And we have all these lovely pine trees in our yard that drop these pine needles. And so I've been from YouTube learning how to make baskets from pine needles. And I just pick them up in my yard, and here's a little vase that I made. I pass these around. They feel really good in your hands. Italian name of it. Teacup.
Show them right here.
What do you call that? Pine needle basket coiling. Coiling, yeah. This one is a little basket with a lid that has a pine cone handle. You see it?
Yeah. Look at that. That's just all pine cone?
It's all
Pine needles. Wow.
And then you can make plates, and baskets. So I decided to make Lulu one based on what I knew about you, Lulu, and that you like zebra print and the word yay. Yay. Okay. So I created that.
Oh my God, I just got chills. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yay.
This is a song that he sings, and I sang it at work and won the 206 Elmwood Idol contest. But it's been a long time since I sang it, so it's based on a
Shaker song. And if you know anything about the Shakers, they were a celibate community, so they kind of died out quick. It's a gift to be simple, it's a gift to be free, it's a gift to come down where you want to be. And when you find yourself in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I lead you all wherever you may be, and I lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the morning when the world was begun, and I danced in the moon and the stars and the sun. I came down from heaven and I danced on earth. In Bethlehem I had my birth. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be. And I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced for the scribe and the Pharisee, but they would not dance and they would not follow me. I danced for the fishermen, for James and John. They came with me and the dance went on. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the Sabbath and I cured the lame. The holy people said it was a shame. They moved and they stripped and they hung me high and left me there on a cross to die. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on a Friday when the sky turns black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and they thought I'd gone, but I am the dance and I still go on. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he.